Well, what she has left is what she should have used right at the beginning of the negotiation period, is the threat to leave the European Union on the World Trade Organization rules. And last night's vote strengthened her hand within her own party, brought people together, brought the Conservative Party together, and showed that firstly there is no willingness within the Parliament to actually go for a second referendum, and that she can now control her own side on this particular point. That's the strength she needed to be able to go back to Mr. Barnier.
Isn't the danger there that if you threaten a no-deal Brexit and the EU does not blink, as damaging as it would be for their side as well, we might end up in a situation where the UK does leave without a deal in place? And that would be fairly damaging on pretty much every report. That would be fairly damaging for the UK, potentially. I mean, you know, the latest report here, just two leading EU experts saying that the UK would potentially have to wait for up to 7 years after a no-deal Brexit before having frictionless tariff-free trade under WTO rules. Is that a risk worth taking?
Yes, but of course, well, there are always risks in anything that you have to do, and I don't believe those risks are as elevated as those economists said, because we've equally got economists on our side who have argued that we would actually have a stronger economy. Right before the election, JP Morgan suggested that the UK would actually have a diminution of only about 2% of our GDP, but after only 2 years of leaving the European Union, we'd actually be increasing our percentage of growth. Now, those are the figures I like. Mr. Faulkner, who we hope will be brought into the negotiation team, is a believer in that too. But remember this, I've had conversations with Mr. Verhofstadt, who's made it absolutely clear that on a WTO deal, the EU will suffer immensely. Two countries in particular, Holland and Ireland, would suffer massive corrections in their economy. Germany would suffer in relation to its meat industry and fishing. And Mr. Macron is fully aware that his fishing industry would be completely decimated without a deal with us. And that's why he is pushing so dramatically to bolster his support in those areas by saying he won't do anything with Britain.
All right, I want to leave the idea of the no-deal Brexit for a second and just look at if there is a deal trying to be thrashed out here. Obviously, all of it centres at the moment around this so-called Irish backstop, something that you have said you are absolutely not in favour of. If a time limit, a very set time limit, were imposed on that backstop, could you come round to the idea?
I think the most important part is what would the DUP find acceptable? And would that also mean that we would have a situation where Northern Ireland would be treated differently to the rest of the United Kingdom? That would be unacceptable. If a solution can be found whereby the Northern Ireland and the United Kingdom are treated as one, we would not have a customs union forever, and that would mean that we would have a technical border using the technology that is out there, has been shown to government, has been looked at by the European Union, then I think there would be movement on that point.